I think one of the things that is very important when you're working across cultures or dealing with any sort of any form of culture is, of course, paying attention to your intuition, right? That's really kind of important, because I think many a time you may not know what is happening there because your cues may be different. But pay attention. So I had a client once who he was actually a German, and he was in Bangkok on a business trip, and he talks about the time when he was in the railway station and suddenly a music came on and everybody was standing at attention. Right? He didn't know what was happening, but he just stood at attention too. Right. And it was because some royalty was happening, somebody was coming through, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, that is a great example of an aspect of cultural intelligence, which is being able to translate what is happening in the environment to pick it up. When I work with my clients, when they go into different countries, the days when we could fly before COVID hit.
Good old days.
Good old days. Always suggest to my clients that when you're going into a different country, on the trip there, at least watch 30 minutes of a movie from that particular culture. Okay, just 20 to 30 minutes, because one, it gives you a sense of the language, the tone, what's it sound like? Is it gruff? Is it softer? Is it just give you a sense of it? And then once you get down into the airport, when you're walking, you want to be observing, right? How are people walking? How are they talking? What's the tone of their voice? What's the pace? Because this is all information, right? Because you are now the outsider. So how do you then build those relationships, right? So you're using all the information, and then and be aware of how you're categorizing. We describe things like clean, dirty, rational, irrational, short, tall, all this. It's all subjective, right?
Definitely.
So, what am I comparing? So it's about being aware of that. Yeah. So when we talk about cultural intelligence, we talk about the 4 dimensions of cultural intelligence, which is drive, which is your motivation to deal with people of different cultures, knowledge, which is your understanding of similarities and differences of culture, which then informs your strategy, what's your plan, and then action. How do you execute, right? Because you got a lot of people who know a lot of things, Stefan, but they do not know how to execute, right?
But I guess
because at the end of the day, it's about the execution.
Yeah, I guess that's a bit about self-awareness and confidence as well, because
of course, yeah, of course. And that's why sometimes, even though you may not know a lot about that particular culture, but if you are having a level of self-awareness, what we call, which is part of your drive, actually, self-efficacy, you can actually go, doesn't matter what happens, I can bounce out of this, right? I can work myself out of this, right? Which is of course a level of self-awareness, absolutely, which is important when you're dealing with people of different cultures, because sometimes you just don't understand.